y'all, it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a wrap up of some recent reads. First, a song called Home by Zarr. Thank you to HarperCollins for sending me this. This was such a good book. And this completed the prompt for middle grade March to read a contemporary book. This was just heartbreakingly beautiful and it was just so real. I knew going into this one that it would be a hard one for me to read, and I was right. But it's important too. Like I've said, I've learned that some contemporaries that I might not want to read about may help me. I mean, I might not want to read about them because they touch too close to home. And this was hard, but I did feel better for reading it. Dad in this book is an alcoholic, and I grew up with an alcoholic stepdad. And this is her real dad, and her mom is remarrying, so she's gonna have a stepdad too. But her one dad like encompassed my two dads, because my stepdad was the alcoholic, and I had all of those relatable things with her for that. And then my real dad wasn't an alcoholic, but he didn't come around. I didn't see him a lot, and just the feeling she has about that I related to. Like, why doesn't he see me? Did I do something wrong? Does he not love me? All those feelings. So it was like a combination, and it just was really hard. The author does just an incredible job writing everything that comes from that environment. My stepdad was abusive to my mom. That doesn't play out in here, but they do have the fear, and they talk about that, how like she wants her dad to have their new address where they're moving to their stepdad's, and her mom's like, we're not gonna give it to him just yet. Remember how sometimes we would be scared of him? Like, so that was well done. She's very honest and very real. Like, so many relatable things, like from parents not allowing their friends to spend the night. Like, I had some friends didn't know about it, like at schools. Some things happened that they did find out at school too, but like kids that were in my neighborhood, they knew, their parents knew, so they weren't allowed to spend the night at my house or even be at my house for too long. I was very relatable to her for that, because her best friend wasn't allowed to stay at her house for the night when they lived where they lived before her mom remarried. And then the constant eggshells you can walk on. You don't know what one day to the next will bring. Like, I remember coming home from school and not knowing what I'd be walking into. And while my stepdad never was abusive to me, there is that fear. And like, I remember hiding under my bed one time. My mom had left me home with my older brother. So there is that fear. You just don't know. And then also the smell of alcohol. Like, even all these years later, for many years, I didn't even want to be around it, especially beer, because that's the main thing my stepdad drank. Couldn't stand it. I still can't stand the smell of beer. It just takes you back to that time. Even now, if I smell it, it'll take me, that's the first thing I'll think about. And then the embarrassment when they make a scene in front of others, but also the protectiveness you feel. It's like such a confusing thing in your head. And it makes me sad that kids have to go through it. Like, it's just so confusing and so unknown and not stable at all. I also appreciated the honesty and very real way the author chose to have the main character handle her situation. It's not the right way to handle it, but it's not always going to be the right way that we choose, especially as a kid. But I appreciated that honesty and how that was dealt with. Because like I said in my review, life's not always like the Brady Bunch. This also showed a very real portrayal of a newly blended family and how that usually goes more often than not. And that made the ending some more meaningful for me, and more importantly, more believable. So I really appreciated that. It also showed no matter how hard change can be in blending those families and all you have to go through, that it can work out and be a great thing. So many amazing messages and lessons in here. It's okay to cry, it's okay to ask for help, to say what you're feeling. And also, what your parents do or don't do is not your fault. If a parent is an addict, not your fault. If your parent doesn't come around, not your fault. That's on them, not on you. I also love the very real sister relationship in here, seeing how different both experiences were and how they dealt with it, whether their feelings about their dad or the feelings about their stepdad, about changing schools or moving. And like I said in my review, it also makes me want to cry happy tears thinking about all the little me's and the kids that need a book like this, like the main character in here that will feel seen and not alone. It'll just help so much. I wish I had had this book. And this is out now, and I highly recommend. And then Albert Whitman and Company sent me the Jessie Files. It's book 1 in the Jessie Files, the friendship feature by Stacia. This book and the second book come out April 26th. This is like a spin-off of the Boxcar Children, which I have a box set of 5 of those books, and I really want to read them even more now. It's just wholesome, charming, so much fun. A great mystery detective style. It had a couple of different layers to it. I love the dynamic between the 3 main characters, like the 3 musketeers. I love their friendship, and they make the best detective team. And great messages, including finding your own thing, what makes you happy. And I also love that the apology in here that someone has to do wasn't all that was required of that character. They had to actually own up to their mistake and take responsibility and make it right. and that's also a great message. So this was just a fun mystery, quick read, great characters, very wholesome, just loved it. And I can't wait for it to come out, and I'm gonna get the second book too. Can't wait to continue. And then Albert Whitman also sent me Coming of Age 13 B'Nai Mitzvah stories by various authors. And this comes out April 19th. In a recent vlog, I really want to rant, so I love this, so I'm not gonna go over all that stuff I said in there again, but I just love this so much. Introduction alone had me getting emotional. You don't have to be Jewish to read this. I'm not Jewish, but there's something that everyone can take away from this, and it's just such an important read, I think. And I learned a lot from it, which I also love when I learn stuff. There's a little bit of everything in here as far as genres, like historical fiction, contemporary, fantasy. And I thought I was losing my mind in that one because I kept seeing these Seinfeld references, and I'm like, am I going crazy? But at the end, there was a little author's note to that story, and I was right, it was Seinfeld, and I love Seinfeld, so I love that. Like, only eating muffin tops. Autobiographical, and even one during the pandemic and that experience. You get to see so many experiences, even through more eyes than even these kids. Like the grandmother who talks about the Soviet Union, learning that having a bar mitzvah or even praying for Jewish people was illegal at one time. And part of history where a sign on a business said no dogs or Jews allowed, and other horrible things. It's just so ridiculous to me. Like, why would you treat people like that just because they're, ugh, I don't want to get started. And then even more recent ignorance, like when a girl feels that she has to hide the fact that she's Jewish when she starts a new school because of what has happened to her before at her other experiences. When people find out, it's just heartbreaking. But at the core, what they have in common is the history and strength of the Jewish people and their resilience and belief in their faith, and continuing it throughout the years. And just think about that part alone. They have persevered and continued, even though so much time in history where they could have been arrested or at times even killed for simply praying. That is the epitome of faith and strength. Stories about 13 kids' different experiences during a huge event in their lives. And it's full of humor, history, friendships, family, love, and hope. And I think it's important for Jewish kids to see themselves in their experience in books. And I think it can also be important to show other kids that Jewish kids aren't so different from them. Books can be a really powerful thing. So I really love this, and I highly recommend it. And then me getting caught up on series, I read the third in the Ariel on the Sea mystery series by Thomas Taylor, Shadowghast. I love this. It's such an amazing series. I was just blown away when I love the second book more than I did the first. And now I think this third one is my favorite, and that just says how great this series is. They literally get better and better. And I absolutely love Herbie and Violet with my whole heart, along with Erwin, Jenny, Mrs. Fossil, Dr. Lassie, Mr. Seagull, just everyone at the hotel, and just everyone and everything about this magically eerie seaside town. All the cookie shops, including the book dispensary with the mermonkey. Just love it. These are so atmospheric, the most descriptive writing. I feel like I'm on this adventure with them. I love how each mystery is so vastly different, yet so intertwined with this place and certain people, like our Herbie. I love the direction this one took too, and all the different layers to it, and things explored and things revealed. Even though I feel like I know a little more to the puzzle, I'm even more eager to know more. There's just so much mystery, adventure, suspense, danger, and friendship. Can't wait for the fourth one. They just get better and better, so I really can't wait for that one. Highly recommend. And then continuing series, but also this was my prompt for an Asian main character or set in Asia. We have an Asian main character. Girl Giant and the Jade War. This is one of my most anticipated sequels and just anticipated reads ever for that year, and it did not disappoint. This was so good. I think I like it even more than the first book, and I was obsessed with that first book. And call me crazy, but I still love the Monkey King with my whole heart. Even though he is an immortal god, there's just so much that is so relatable about him. Because he's not perfect, even though he's this trickster god, he's not perfect. The feeling of never belonging anywhere, just wanting all great things the world, and in his case the heavens, have to offer for him and his friends to belong, to stop being punished for just being what he is, something he didn't choose. He has great intentions, just not always the best methods. So many amazing messages in here. Can't say everything I loved about it because I don't want to spoil since it is the second book, but the adventure in this kicked up several notches. There was also even more of the mythological elements, which I loved. All the characters are so great in here, but for me personally, my heart belonged to our main character, Tom, and of course the Monkey King. Tom is so relatable as well, and you root for her and your heartstrings tug at the internal battle she's going through emotionally, the complexities of her friendship with the trickster god, and the problems it causes with her other friends who see no gray area. To them, he's just 100% bad. And she struggles with that because she saw something else in him. They're so alike, and their connection to each other even feels so special. She also struggles with self-doubt and acceptance, trying to find where she belongs. It's easy to see why she sees more to the Monkey King. Like, they're so, God, so beautiful. I love the way the ending came together, and I hope and pray there will be more. I'm so excited about the way so many things from the ending went and where it can go. So I really hope there's more. As usual, my heart's so happy for all the kids who will feel seen in so many ways. All the kids who feel like they don't fit in or belong anywhere, who have trouble believing in and accepting themselves. And then the kids who will see this kick-butt young heroine who actually looks like them, because we need more books like that where every kid can feel seen, and a book that has their culture represented in it. It's so good. Highly recommend. And then I read Summer of Brave by Amy Noelle Parks. Is being brave worth the risk? 12-year-old Lila doesn't exactly lie. She's just careful. To keep her parents happy, she hides how much she hates moving back and forth between their houses, and she ignores her doubts about the elite high school they're pushing her toward. To keep peace with her best friend Vivi, Lila doesn't share that she got the junior camp counselor job Vivi wanted. And to avoid losing everything she's worked so hard for, Lila doesn't argue when the camp coordinator dismisses an employee's harassment as boys being boys. After all, if Lila starts saying what she feels out loud, everything in her life might come crashing down, and she doesn't need that, except maybe she does. This was so deeply moving and empowering. Loved it. I felt so proud of Lila throughout the story. Her character development and growth was just superb. So much pride in her. And this is an age where, for a girl, where everything's on the cusp of change. You start getting butterflies about certain boys. It's all still very innocent, but butterflies. Your body's changing, and experiences and issues you never dealt with before. You start to get a taste of that, and it's scary. I think the story could help so many girls during this time. I didn't even realize that some of the things I went through myself starting at that age were so common, and the feelings that they in turn bring to you. Catcalling is not okay, for example. Don't do it, boys. No, we should not be flattered. And no, I don't want to hear boys being boys. Boys will just be boys. Not just harassment, but how the rules are different for girls. Even the dress codes for girls versus boys. We can't dress a certain way to make things easier, meaning that what we wear causes jerks to harass us. I don't think so. It's also expected that we are to act differently than boys. It's just a lot. If I feel less alone reading it and these experiences and feelings from Lila, just think about what it'll do for young girls reading this. Then you have what she's going through with the aftermath of her parents' divorce, and then putting so much on her shoulders in so many ways, while thinking they're doing everything for her, like they've sacrificed so much for her without even consulting her. And she feels like she can't even cry because one of her parents told her before not to manipulate them with her tears. I was seeing red. I was so angry. She feels like she can't cry after that. She says and does anything to make the one she loves happy, no matter how it makes her feel, even letting both parents plan her future for her. I loved her two best friends and their dynamic together. And thanks to this very friendship, she realizes during one of their summer challenges they do that how much she lies at the expense of herself and works on being braver. The project she puts together at the end was so impactful and so beautifully done. I loved it so much, and the reaction it brought out in others, so good. It was just a raw, honest, relatable, important, and beautiful story. I couldn't put it down. I finished the last 60% in one sitting. And I haven't even skimmed the surface, like I said in my review, of how everything I loved, so I highly recommend this. And actually, I bought this when it came out. I don't read books as soon as they come out, but in the books that Albert Whitman sent me, this was in there. And so since I already bought a copy, I have 2 copies now. So the one I haven't read, I was thinking about doing a giveaway on my Instagram. I've been doing a lot of giveaways over there, so if you want to follow me over there, I'll probably do that soon. It's just a great book. Then I read the 4th book in Pages & Co series, The Book Smugglers by Anna James. And this is the last one currently out. The 5th one will come out in the fall. I think there's going to be 6 books, but I'm not really sure. Beautiful naked hardcover. This is such an incredible series. I'm so sad that I have to leave this world and characters for even a few months. I love how the story keeps growing and evolving, so every book is literally a brand new adventure and story, while at the same time it keeps that same original magic and familiarity. And I hope the next one goes in the direction I think it is, while keeping that original magic as usual too, and some of the same amazing people. This keeps up the pace, the intrigue, adventure, story, and magic of it all. And after I fell in love with a newer character in the last book, I was absolutely thrilled with the direction this one took. And there's a couple things that are done differently in this, and I really appreciated and enjoyed it. And we also meet another new character who I quite enjoyed, and I'm very eager to see more with her as well. She's just so intriguing. And like I mentioned, the author ups the level of everything from one book to the next. Like the danger, suspense, adventure, friendships, magic, mystery, intrigue, and the power of stories and books, and also their importance and beauty. This is the 4th book, so I can't say a lot, but I'm just so happy I finally read these, and I can't wait for the next book. I highly recommend this whole series. And then I read Pollyanna by Eleanor H. This is the copy I read, but I have 2 editions. This completed the final prompt for Middle Grade March. Read a book that's older than you. This was so heartwarming, just a pure joy to read. The world definitely needs more people like Pollyanna. What an amazing kid. Definitely a book hug book. She always tries to find the best in everything and everyone, and to always find at least one thing to be glad about with any situation, even with all the heartache she's already endured in her young life. It's just simply amazing. She's just incredible. I love seeing the outpouring of love and emotion from the town when she can't play the glad game anymore. And you get to see what an incredible impact she had on this town already in her short time there. Nancy is just a hoot and a half, and I absolutely loved her. Pollyanna has my heart though, of course. She's just an incredible little girl. I highly recommend it. I just loved it so much. I remember watching the movies. I think there's a couple of versions of the movie. I think I watched all of them, but I haven't seen it since I was little, but now I want to watch the movies again, so I can't wait to do that. And then I read Sir Fig Newton and the Science of Persistence by Sandra Thomas. And the author sent me this. Thank you so much. This was so deeply moving and just charming. Very heartwarming. I loved it. So many relatable issues for kids in here. A best friend that moves away, but you're trying to stay best friends. A parent who lost a job and the financial strain and almost depression that can bring for the parent, and other issues. And the love of pets and future dreams. I love Mara's determination, and yes, her persistence. I love the dynamic between Tamika and Mara, even her and her parents. And I love all the ways she persisted for her cat and all the methods she tried. Sir Fig Newton, of course, has my heart. Such an amazing little cat, or big fluffy cat. Anyone who's had a pet get sick can relate to those aspects of the story. I know I definitely could with my own pup. I love how no matter what, she refused to give up on Pig, because pets are family. There is discussion in here on faith and what that can mean to each person. And I did feel uncomfortable reading some of those things about God, because she doesn't believe. But that's only because I do believe in God. Not everyone believes the same things though, and I don't expect them to. So that in no way made me enjoy the book any less. But I did want to say that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because you have to represent everybody. She is a science girl after all, and I've seen many people of science who don't believe. They believe in science and facts more so than God and just faith. And that's how she is. And even though she doesn't believe, she keeps her faith in Sir Fig and his health, and I just love that. There's great humor in here, so many amazing lessons and messages. Change can be hard, like a best friend moving, but if you give it a chance, great things can come from it. And no matter how many times life may knock you down, keep getting up. Keep that persistence. Highly recommend it. This is out now, and I loved it. And then lastly, I continue another series, and I got caught up on this series. The 2nd book in the Ocean Squid Explorers Club, but the 5th in the whole series as a whole, because the first trilogy was the Polar Bears Explorers Club, so it's all the same world. And then this is the Ocean Squid Explorers Club. So this is Explorers at Pirate Island by Alex Bell. And I love this series so much. It's so good. And it just keeps evolving from the very first trilogy with that club and Explorers to this trilogy with Explorers from Ocean Squid. And I'm just so excited to see where this series will continue to go in the future. I'm just so excited for this. It's so incredible. And I grew even more attached to these amazing characters. And the author does such a great job writing incredible characters, and also does such superb world and story building. So atmospheric. Everything we see underwater and above is described in such vivid detail. And the details themselves are incredible. Sea witches, zombie skeletons, underwater dinosaur graveyard, pirate fairies, and so many more things in this world are just amazing. Like the snow globe, like everything. So fast-paced and gripping. I just love them, and I grew even more attached to these characters, like I said, and I can't wait to go back and spend more time with them. I can't wait for the next book. Highly recommend. All right, y'all, that's all for this video. Have you read any of these? Did you like them? Did you not? Let me know in the comments. And I hope you had a great Middle Grade March. I know I did, and thank you again to the host for such a great month. If you would like to subscribe, I would love that if you'd like to. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.